Welcome back to Outside Views EU. Today we're diving into the EU-Japan Economic Partnership Agreement. This is one of the largest and most comprehensive trade agreements in the world, and it's a big deal for both sides. But what exactly does it entail? So let's start with some background. Negotiations for this agreement began in 2013 and took nearly 5 years to complete. It finally came into effect on February 1st in 2019. And this agreement has created one of the world's largest free trade areas, covering about 600 million people. And that's nearly a third of the world's GDP right there. So why is this important? For the EU, Japan is a major trading partner. Japan is the EU's second largest trading partner in Asia after China. And for Japan, the EU is equally significant. The EU is Japan's third largest trading partner after China and the US. So this agreement affects a massive chunk of global trade. The main idea behind the EU-Japan Economic Partnership Agreement is to eliminate or reduce tariffs on many goods and services between the two. For the EU, that means better access to the Japanese markets for things like food, drinks, and industrial products. And Japan, on the other hand, gets easier access to European markets, especially for cars and car parts. And one of the key benefits is the elimination of tariffs. Around 99% of tariffs between the two regions are either eliminated or drastically reduced. For example, Japan agreed to cut tariffs on European cheese and wine. Before the deal, European cheese faced tariffs of around 30%. And that's huge for European dairy farmers. In return, the EU eliminated tariffs on Japanese cars, which were around 10% before the deal. And this helps Japan's massive car industry get a stronger foothold in Europe. But this deal isn't just about tariffs. It also focuses on standards and regulations. The goal is to make it easier for companies in both regions to do business without facing different rules in each market. For instance, there are agreements on things like product safety and environmental standards, and this reduces red tape and lowers costs for businesses. Another important aspect is the protection of geographical indications. This means that European products like champagne, Parma ham, and Roquefort cheese are protected in Japan. And Japanese consumers can be sure they are getting the real deal, and European producers are protected from imitations. On the flip side, Japanese products like Kobe beef and sake get the same protections in Europe. So both sides benefit from these protections, and consumers know they are getting authentic products. And services are also a major part of the deal. The agreement opens up sectors like financial services, e-commerce, telecommunications, and transport. And this creates more opportunities for European and Japanese companies to compete in each other's markets. And one of the lesser known but significant aspects of the agreement is its focus on sustainable development. Both the EU and Japan are committed to upholding international environmental standards. There's also a chapter on labor rights aiming to improve working conditions and promote fair trade practices. And let's not forget about public procurement. This agreement allows European companies to bid for public contracts in Japan and vice versa. And this means more opportunities for businesses on both sides. So, who benefits the most from this agreement? For European farmers, the deal opens up a huge market in Japan. For example, beef, pork, and dairy products now have much better access to Japanese consumers. And Japanese car manufacturers also gain big, as the elimination of EU tariffs makes their cars more competitive in Europe. But it's not just big industries that benefit. Small and medium-sized enterprises, or the so-called SMEs, also gain from reduced tariffs and easier market access. In fact, the agreement includes special provisions to help SMEs make the most of the deal. And now, let's talk about the political aspect. We cannot leave that out, because this agreement is more than just about trade. This deal is a statement. In a time when some countries are turning towards protectionism and trade wars, the EU and Japan are showing that they believe in free and fair trade. And it's also a way for both the EU and Japan to reduce their dependence on other major economies like the United States and China. By strengthening ties with each other, they gain more economic stability and resilience. Now, how has the agreement performed so far? In the first year alone, EU exports to Japan increased by over 6%, and Japanese exports to the EU saw a similar rise. Sectors like machinery, chemical products, and food have seen especially strong growth. It's clear that both sides are benefiting. Of course, no trade agreement is perfect, and there are challenges. Some European industries, especially in areas like textiles, have raised concerns about competition from Japan. And on the Japanese side, there is still some resistance from farmers worried about increased competition from European agricultural products. But overall, the feedback has been largely positive. Looking ahead, this agreement is likely to play an even bigger role as both the EU and Japan face challenges like climate change, technological shifts, and evolving global trade dynamics. And this deal sets a strong foundation for future cooperation. So, what's the takeaway? The EU-Japan Economic Partnership Agreement is a major milestone in international trade. It benefits a wide range of sectors, from agriculture to cars, from services to public procurement. It's a clear example of how two major economies can work together to promote free trade and economic growth. And it is a strong signal to the rest of the world that even in times of uncertainty, trade can still be a powerful tool for prosperity. So thanks for watching Outside Views EU, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, stay informed, and the next video is right here in the end screen.